In this video, we will go over exactly how to choose a great real estate location to invest in. And we will cover 3 key steps that will help you buy your first profitable deal. I created this video specifically for those stuck where I was at 7 years ago in analysis paralysis, afraid of getting started in real estate investing. Hi, my name is Ryan Chaw, your friendly neighborhood real estate investor, and I show new investors how to get their first deal. Now, not knowing where to invest might make you very uncomfortable making that first offer. I know it did for me, because we all know that being successful in real estate investing is all about, you've heard it before, location, location, location. When I got started looking at properties, I was also stressed out with thoughts like the house seems to look really great on paper, but nothing is as good as it looks on paper. I must be missing something here. This just must be too good to be true. Or you might be on the opposite side where you just can't find any deals out there. If you have experienced this as well, just know it is completely normal. So let me tell you the story of how I broke out of my analysis paralysis stage. I was living with my parents before I bought my first deal. And though I spent a lot of time talking about buying real estate, I always had an excuse for not buying a property today. It was always next week, next month. I swear I will get to it. It drove my dad crazy. Hearing me talk about real estate every day, but not making any physical progress buying an actual property. Then one day, super frustrated, he challenged me, saying I didn't even have the courage to pick up a phone and call a realtor. He said, "You're not even serious about this. All I hear is talk, talk, talk." Now, that got me angry, as you can imagine. Not the Hulk angry. Well, I might turn red instead of green, but back then, as a younger adult, I had this sort of rebellious attitude that nobody can tell me what I can and can't do for myself, because I believe in myself. When my dad had said that, the first thought that came to my mind was, oh yeah? Well, I'll show you. So, as you can imagine, I picked up a phone and dialed a realtor. I found him highly rated on Yelp, and he had 15 years of market experience, specifically in the neighborhoods nearby my alma mater college, where I had gone to pharmacy school and felt very comfortable investing in. Now this brings me to my very first piece of advice if you're new to real estate investing, and that is to buy in a market you are familiar with. If you start buying your rental portfolio in a city you are familiar with, you have a much better idea of the good and the bad areas. What are the city highlights? Where do people like to hang out? What restaurants to eat at? And where you and your friends have personally stayed and found to be safe. And you may have some local connections as well. Whether you notice it or not, this gives you courage and makes you much more likely to follow through on a deal there. Otherwise, you might just use your unfamiliarity of that market as an excuse to not buy your first property. Trust me, I know people who do this. You cannot give in to these fears. So, for me, I was like, I lived in this college for 4 years already, and I rented a room there. Now, I am just on the other side of this transaction. I know this area. Mentally, it was just easier to accept this new role as a local landlord. So, back to my story. When I called the realtor up, he said, "Come on down." And when I told my dad I was leaving to meet up with the realtor, he stopped me and said, wait. He grabbed his wallet and hopped in my car, and then he said, "I got you going, didn't I? Let's do this together." Still, slightly upset, I admitted, "Yes, you did indeed, Dad." And we drove down there to look at houses together. Just 2 weeks later, I had my offer accepted on my very first property. Now, my very first property did not go well, as you can hear more about in my video titled, Your First Rental, 4 Common Mistakes to Avoid. But I persisted and I bought 1 property a year, and 5 years later I owned 5 properties in California. Now, when I went back and did some extensive research analysis on my properties and the investments of my 50 coaching students, we found that the ones that performed the best were in markets with high job growth or in a town with a highly rated college. And that leads me to tip number 2, invest in the market with high job growth or a top-rated college. For example, one of my students, Wayudanada, was a tech engineer in the San Francisco Bay Area. Wayudanada wanted to build a system to generate rental income and create a lasting business. He wanted to get to a point where he could quit his job or work part-time and instead invest more of his time into this new rental business. He also wanted to invest locally because there were a lot of jobs in the Silicon Valley area. And he chose to buy this property nearby San Jose State University, which was 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. He then added 2 bathrooms to make it into an 8-bedroom, 4-bathroom house and rented each room out for $1,200 per month, which added up to $9,600 per month total in rental income. In his text message to me, he said that his net income in 2022, after all expenses were paid, was $5,500 per month. What's more is that you can see his house appreciated $268,500 over the course of just 3 years, which was $89,500 per year. So, by simply investing in a market with a lot of jobs and job growth, he did very well with his real estate investment. So, we covered investing in markets you are familiar with and investing where there is a lot of job growth or a top college town. Finally, let's discuss the most important way to safe-proof your real estate investment. And that is by doing something we call market research. So, imagine you're planning a baking day with your friends. Doing market research is like asking all your friends who are coming over what are their favorite cookie flavors and how would they like them baked. Do they want them gooey or crispy? Do they like milk chocolate or dark chocolate? Similarly, in real estate investing, you need to figure out what your target market is looking for when they decide on a house to live in. Do they want safety, affordability? Do they want to be nearby a bus stop or a school shuttle? Now, there are 2 ways to do this. One is to ask your target market directly. Mine is college students. I will go to a Facebook housing group. You can see here, this is Yale University, housing roommates, tenants, and apartments. And I message these students directly looking for houses to see if they can hop on a brief call to find out what they are looking for. And in return, I usually let them know of any housing options that I'm aware of in the area. Now, the second way to do market research is to talk to landlords who are providing that housing. For example, I will call up local apartments and ask, hey, how many units are available at your complex? And how many units do you have total in your building? Also, are most of your tenants college students or working professionals? This way, I learn exactly what type of tenant I will probably get if I buy in a similar neighborhood as that apartment. Also, answering these questions tells me what the occupancy rate is, meaning are they getting all of their rooms filled? Typically, an 85% occupancy rate is ideal. My motto is, if they can do it, I can do it too. In other words, if they can fill their rooms, I can do it as well, as long as I am persistent and have good marketing skills. And that's it. Remember, my 3 tips are to invest in the market you are familiar with, invest in a market with high job growth or is near a top college town, and don't forget, do your market research. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that I can reach more people who are really struggling with getting started in real estate investing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.